tofu burger, so I'm
Hello.
so happy. That super duper burger has tofu burger.
Is that where we're going?
That's how I wanted to go. I like it.
Where is it?
It's
all the children must stay with your family all the time now. Nobody can go running around out there on your own, please. And if you feel like
Let's tie her all the way up to her neck.
so, take a big breath. Thank you very much for coming to our art show. Everybody, I'm having them take a big breath, just like I said. Ready? After the show, the classrooms will be open again for a short time. In case you missed seeing them, there are 6 separate sites. And we will have a surprise after the show. So, if you are a Frogs family after the show, you will receive one of these mementos. The play is entitled The King and the Creatures.
I don't like being up there. Scary. It's scary.
Gigantic light bulb over here. I knew it was true. I was realizing that I was indeed a lesbian, that I'd always been a lesbian, and I understood that for the first time ever in that moment. I was relieved to know what it was I'd been feeling all those years. Oh, a reminder here again, just in case you forgot. I was naive, very naive. So, the next day I went over to Cheryl's place. We hung out anyway. I assumed she'd be feeling the same as I did. There's that naivete. No, she said. She wasn't that way. She couldn't really explain what happened the evening before. I did ask, well, what was that? Just the wine, she said. The wine made me misinterpret her actions. But she didn't mind if I was that way. We could still be friends. However, at the door, upon leaving, our usual sisterly hug wasn't there. She just was... But I realized that was actually fine with me. I wasn't really in love with her. At that point, I didn't really care who I was going to lesbiate with. Well, a week or so later, I'm driving with a friend in our small town, and we passed a pedestrian. I'd seen this woman walking around town sometimes, and she was different. With my recent epiphany, it occurred to me that maybe she might be a lesbian? My friend waved, so I inquired. I'd already mentioned my recent realization. Oh, don't you know her? Well, that's Teresa Ramirez. She's a lesbian. Eureka! I thought maybe I could have a lesbian friend, somebody to pal around with. As with Cheryl, not wanting to lesbiate, wasn't attracted to, not attracted to her, but wanting a buddy to help me figure out this new life. So, I found out where she lived, and I went over to meet her. She was very welcoming. As it turned out, a little too welcoming. So So we hung out a few times. We went out to listen to music. We went to a cafe. Oh, before I tell you more, I have a very weird confession. You're not going to believe this, but it is God's honest truth. I had never, ever had any physical fantasies about what women might do together. I never even considered that kissing would be involved. Not even since my epiphany. I know, what's wrong with me? I think we all know. It's that 5-letter word. Starts with an N, has a V near the end. Come on, help me out. I was so naive. Thank you. So here's how it all came down. Teresa and I were at my place listening to music when she abruptly came over to where I was sitting, bent down, and started kissing me. As previously noted, I wasn't attracted to her, and also previously noted, I didn't expect kissing anyhow. My only kissing experience was with men, and I didn't enjoy it with them, and apparently I thought I'm not going to like it with women either. She was just slobbering all over me. I hated it. I was in shock. Well, I was able to extricate myself, and it wasn't easy, but I explained that's not what I wanted. I just want to be friends with another lesbian so I can figure out how to be a lesbian. And somehow I managed to show her the door. This time it was me. You know, isn't it crazy that I never, ever considered, never fantasized, nor had any awareness at all that kissing would be part of the deal? Well, I love kissing now. I loved it the minute it happened with someone to whom I was definitely attracted to. But I think we all know that's a story for another time.
If you can't hear me, let me know, because I really want that to happen.
I can't hear you.
Okay. I was going to tell a story about my dad and a day that happened to me recently. I was lying on my back on an industrial carpet with a semi-automatic screwdriver in my hand, assembling a 6-panel IKEA desk frame for my father, who had just landed in a new retirement community. At 87, my father still marvels at my ability to wield a wrench. Wow, I had no idea you were so good with tools, he says, donning the gracious air reserved for those who grew up overseas before the 1950s. Just terrific, he says, shaking his head, while my brother hands me tiny plastic and silver prefab bits from the floor. The 4-hour Swedish construction meditation tests our spirit, as well as my 51-year-old bone density. After 19 years in the Golden Gateway apartments in downtown San Francisco, my father moved into Grand Lake Gardens, a nice retirement community in Oakland. And now we're helping him relocate. Everyone here asks him, why did you move from San Francisco? As if making the drive across the bridge was too bold a move for an octogenarian. He responds, it just fits, and we're happy for him. Now he can relax, we're hoping. 3 meals a day, Qigong classes, and 70 retired people sharing chicken cacciatore dining. Even a good kosher bakery across the street. There's a Trader Joe's. It's by the Grand Lake Theater. After we finish, my brother departs for the road back home to Los Angeles, and I plop down on the couch next to my father in front of a flat-screen Rachel Maddow, his favorite female liberal. I take a short swallow and clear my throat. I understand that Jim told you about his situation, I say. Jim's my brother. I've waited until my brother's gone to bring up the subject of my brother's likely separation from the mother of his 2 young daughters. I glance up at my father. Terrible, my father says, shaking his head and looking down at his brown spotted hands, just terrible. They were together 17 years, I say, just like you and Mom. After the words leave my lips, I'm unsure where this highlighted similarity will take us. My dad mutes the TV and stares into his lap. You know, just before she decided to end the marriage, your mother had her first climax with me. His revelation is circa 1970, but from his somber expression as he scratches at a thread popping out of the couch cushion, it could have been yesterday. Then we drove all the way back home and she was so happy in the car, he continues. She said that was all she wanted and needed, and now she could stay with me forever. They had been at a Masters and Johnson sex therapy clinic in the hopes of mending their intimate relationship, but my mother, donning loose-knit ponchos with the entrails of a pot roach in her pouch pocket, already had one foot out the door. My father continues, and the next day in front of our therapist, she said it was over. She never even told me. She told the therapist, it's over. Was it really the next day, I asked, trying to focus on something concrete rather than the image my father has conjured? Right after you came back from the clinic? Oh, I don't know, he says. She'd been so happy during the drive. We were excited and making plans for the future. He looks up at me. Although 44 years have transpired, he still doesn't understand quite what happened. I let out a breath and stare out the window. How can I hope to explain it to him when I scarcely understand it myself? When my kids were 2 and 4, I shocked myself and left my husband for a woman coming out in midlife. And since that time, I have remained a gay woman living alone with my kids, my ex a mile away. We raise our 2 daughters together, yet under the messy, disjointed umbrella of divorce. I look at my father now on the couch. He's looking at me, hoping for me to reveal the mystery of women. Wives like my mother and I, who, as he once said to me, leave their marriages because of sex. Who are we, I wonder? Fragmented at best, we hold up our fingers to block the sun and squint like everyone else. We have given up our mortgages and cozy family of 4 cookouts in order to chase something elusive and never quite won. When the notion that my daughters will soon leave for college and the lightness of their being, sweet dream kisses goodnight, and promises of hot chocolate will be subdivided evermore, sends me to my knees, I sometimes forget what I ever did it for. But then I stare out the window and remember the reason. Well, my mother left my father because he was an unbudgeable square in 1969. For me, it was my sexual orientation. Yet my sexual identity is something so personal it exists outside language. And there's no way to adequately explain it to my father. Instead, I sit and say nothing, merely absorbing the weight of his pain and long-worn confusion. After some moments, I offer, shall I come back next Sunday? Maybe we can watch a ball game together. Sounds good, Jenny, he responds, startling into the present. I'd like it if you brought the girls, won't you? I nod my head. On the drive home, as I merge with the traffic on the freeway, the lights blur and the colors fray. Since my mother died from ALS in 2006, I alone carried the torch of defiance for women in our family who went astray. I may not have an intact nuclear family, but today I got to witness the depths of my father's pain, and despite the bleak emotional landscape of the experience for both of us, I revel in moments like this where our memories rise up and remind us who we no longer are. How else, after all, can we hope to define ourselves, if not by standing up tall against the raging current, forever aiming to pull us under?
Devika started.
Sorry.
What is it?
Diva Cat.
Diva Cat. Started writing in her teenage years which consisted of poetry and songs. She later began an online poetry group that pushed her into expanding her poetry onto the stage. She's performed her pieces for Sappho's Return, Outfest Film Festival, the Found Theater in Long Beach, California, San Francisco Pride 2013, and she currently in the
This sugar cane sure looks good today. Well, her name really ain't Miss Sugar Cane. It's Miss Sally B, and she be the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Folks think she mean and surly, but I think I know her story. She's a handsome and gorgeous lady, and I just wanna, every time I see her face.
I was cooking a pot of collard greens and I was wondering if I could get a little bit of that special seasoning that your mama used to make and didn't tell nobody about.
Like me,
Yeah.
I know what Miss Sally B really wanted, and I reckon it was a taste of my sugar cane. I know something she don't think I do. See, I love me some Miss Sally B, but she be acting like she don't see me. The other day, I caught her looking at my booty, and instead of me turning away, I stayed and walked her finger all over my behind. I looked in her eyes, and she looked in mine. Her head down now, looking all shy and bashful. Before she could turn away, I seen her glaze over with laughter in her spirit. It made me tickle. The time finally came for me to taste her. Greens. I threw in some of that special seasoning my mama gave to me, stirred the pot, it made the water taste so good. And she waited as the greens to cook down. I knew then it was my turn to give it a try. See, Miss Sally B been watching me for a long time now. Then I knew in my heart I caught her eye. I seen the way he was looking at me.
What you talking about? What you mean?
Miss Sally B, I seen you eyeing my booty and you was looking it up and down.
Come on, girl. Come on with that nonsense now.
Miss Sally B, you don't scare me. I know what you want and I know what you need. Well, don't be mad at me, Miss Sally B. I just come here to fix your brains. I promise you I don't mean no harm. I can't help it. I just want so badly to be in your arms.
Look, I don't need this mess.
I walked over to the pot to give it a serve. I turned my behind to her with a slice of duck and twirl. She just stood there silent, looking at me. I turned around and did the rest of my dress. Oh, Lord! Miss Sally B couldn't take it no more.
Baby girl, would you like a glass of lemonade?
Lemonade.
You know, I have thought about you many days, many nights. I can't tell you how often I thought about the sweetness of sugar cane between your legs. Right now, it's hard for me to say that at night I wish you'd come and stay. Yes, the collard greens was my opening door to let my eyes explore you more.